Cruise news time. Well, we have Carnival cruise passengers going viral for being upset over their treatment on a cruise where the air conditioning was broken and the compensation that followed. And it begs the question, how do we feel about the way these passengers were treated? And secondly, was the freakout justified? Cruise news, cruise news, cruise news, here's Tony. Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to Lido, Loca. I am your host, Tony, here with the latest cruise news and views for your face. Let me put this story into context. A couple weeks ago, the Carnival Sunrise had challenges with its air conditioning system. The cruise in question on the Sunrise took passengers both to Grand Cayman and to Jamaica, and there are days on the cruise where the outside temperatures reached over 90 degrees. The math's not too hard to figure out on this one. If you have an outside temperature of over 90 degrees and a broken air conditioning system on the cruise ship, you are going to end up with guest cabins that are overly hot. You're going to end up with public spaces on the cruise ship that are overly hot. And guests on that sailing did receive a letter acknowledging that there was issues with the air conditioning and promising that those impacted by those challenges would be compensated based on how much impact they had, how many days their cruise cabin was too hot, they would be compensated. And that's where the trouble begins. It seems like maybe a lot of people on that cruise had the issue, and it also seems that there was some sort of automatic issuing of refunds to passengers. Now, the way that the refunds came was in the form of onboard credit that needed to be used on that cruise. So if you were issued onboard credit and you already had expenses on that cruise on your shipboard account, then that onboard credit could help, lower the overall cost of your shipboard account. But imagine a scenario where maybe you didn't spend a lot of money on the cruise, you got issued an onboard credit. Now you have onboard credit that you have to use before you get off of the ship. And then beyond that, imagine if you were not satisfied with the level of onboard credit that you were issued. And I believe if you wrap all those scenarios together, I believe that's why you see some of the footage coming off of that cruise ship. I want to share two videos with you. The first one I want to share, it's just a video that makes me sad. It's a video posted by a first-time cruiser. She's in a horrendously long line, and you can tell her frustration. Let's watch that video.
I'm on my first cruise with Carnival Sunrise. Hello. Look at this. Everybody is patiently waiting to try to get their money back, pay their bill off. It's hot. It's been hot the whole 5 days we've been on this cruise. My first cruise experience, it sucks. It sucks, and the line still swoops all the way back there, as you can see, all the way up there. Yeah. So if you go on a cruise, do not take Carnival Sunrise, all right? I'll be back.
Yeah, so 5-day cruise, most of the days were hot, and now she is stuck in a line waiting to get to guest services to see if she's gonna get any satisfaction. I know I'd be super frustrated if this was my first cruise, but I do take some solace in the fact that she said if you're going to go on a cruise, don't go on Carnival Sunrise. She didn't say don't go on Carnival at all, so hopefully this bad experience didn't sour her to cruising, because when cruising's good, it's really good, but of course, when it's bad, this is pretty bad. Now, the interesting thing is I would love to see what happened when she got to guest services, if she got the satisfaction that she was looking for, because this next clip is a woman who did not get the satisfaction she was looking for. This clip's a doozy, but before we get there, let me quickly invite you to subscribe. If you like staying up to date with everything going on in cruising, please consider subscribing with the notification bell on. That way you don't miss out on any of these episodes. Thank you in advance. Here comes the freak out.
They already gave you. So if they gave you nothing, that is what you're gonna get. Because this is the supervisor, the manager, the team lead right here. What's her name? Maria. Maria just told me that corporate decided that they cannot give you anything else. So you might want to get out of line and go home. Maybe you might want to get a customer service number, because they are not going to give you anything than what you have right now. Despite you sweating 5 nights every single night that you've been on this ship. This is not customer service.
Taking seeing clues from what she is saying. It does seem like she made it to the front of the guest services line, and she does not feel like maybe the compensation that she got was fair, and that the customer service representative basically said, look, this is all we can do. You're gonna have to take it up with the corporate office when you get off of the cruise ship. And that's when she begins to freak out a little bit. And it escalates from there. Eventually security was called, and this whole thing escalated. A couple things about this clip. First, I'm never a big fan at yelling at employees. I'm never a fan of yelling at somebody that's just trying to do their job. The yelling is not going to, allow them to change whatever their boss has told them. Unfortunately, they're the person just put on the front line sometimes to get yelled at. And I'm assuming that they maybe have that built into them. They're like, okay, I'm gonna get yelled at. But I'm never a big fan of yelling at them. But with all that said, I'm not sure that after 5 days in an overly hot cruise cabin and 5 days on an overly hot cruise ship, that I would be able to contain my desire to yell at the situation. Secondly, I do think that this lady was doing some people a service. If we think back to the first video clip of the poor lady waiting in line, maybe she's sitting there going, I didn't get compensated at all. I need to go to guest services to get compensation. At least this lady is telling people in the line, if you're expecting to get something and you didn't get anything, well, you're just wasting your time in line. So maybe she's helped some people out there. But whether or not you agree with how this lady handled the situation, it does bring into question how Carnival handled this situation. Because at the end of the day, they are a business that took money from consumers with a promise of a vacation. And the question becomes, if that vacation is so disrupted by not having air conditioning, what should the compensation be? Now, I don't know how much it would cost just to refund the entire cruise for people because of this broken air conditioning issue. That probably would have been what I would have done. Instead, Carnival had to come up with some sort of decision-making process to determine how inconvenienced certain people were in certain cabins for what period of time, and then determine compensation based on that data. And as you can see, just my explanation is convoluted, so you know that the execution of that probably was convoluted, and that's why you see a variety of people in line possibly dissatisfied with the compensation that they were getting. This story is ongoing. Insider.com has an article out right now talking about people struggling with different levels of compensation, talking about what it's like now that people have been home for 2 weeks working with customer service. Some people are satisfied, some people are still dissatisfied. It's a tough situation. Let me leave you with 2 questions. If you were the business owner and you had this many people dissatisfied, what would have been your level of compensation? And number 2, do you feel like this freak out was justified by this lady who'd been in a hot ship for 5 days and then getting hotter as she was getting no satisfaction? Like I said, cruising when it's good, it's really good. And sometimes, well, cruising can be a little bit of a nightmare. I still love it regardless. But that's both sides of the coin, I suppose. Thank you so much for checking out the show today. Do me a solid, hit the like button. This is Tony for Lido Loca. Until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye. Cruise news, cruise news, cruise.